So let's go on. Hi everyone, and welcome to today's session, Corona Talk, Virus versus Hotel. I'm really happy that we have great panelists over here. So I'm welcoming everyone who's watching and who will be watching this afterwards. Thank you very much. I will give you a quick intro and then we will just start and asking those people questions that we need to know what you are doing. So we want to do this like our typical evening camps, so keep it short and simple, interact, and leave me out of it if you can. So I will try and give you some questions, but it would be awesome if you would interact with yourselves. Later on, we will be able to put up hoteliers who want to join the discussion as panelists. So if you are a hotelier watching and you want to join us live, Daniel will take care of the Q&A and of the chat. Please let him know and we will put you up the panel later on. We will now get to know our panelists. So I will ask each and every one to introduce themselves, name, company, and a hashtag as usual. But we don't only want to get to know our panelists, we also want to know where our viewers are from. So Daniel, after that, right now, we'll put up a poll that you can fill out and let us know from where you're watching. So maybe we can also direct a bit then the questions to that. Another important info, if you have questions while everyone's talking, please be so kind to put them up in the Q&A. Because over there, Daniel will review them and then we will have a part where we will only dedicate the time to check out your Q&As and hopefully answer the questions. Yeah, that's basically it. I'll start by introducing myself because I haven't done, I think. I'm Liza from Hospitality Industry Club and I will be moderating this. I'm very happy that everyone's here. And I would love to start with Ollie. Please introduce yourself.
Sure, thank you very much, Lisa. So hello and a warm welcome from my side from Munich. My name is Oliver and I represent Clock Software. You can consider us as being a most-in-one cloud-based property management system. Depending on the needs and the type of hotel, we do have several other functionalities in place, from a MICE tool, guest engagement, integrated channel manager, kiosk terminals, and so on and so forth. I've been working for Clock Software since about 2 years now. And I'm primarily responsible for the German-speaking markets. Oh, and my hashtag would be Adventurous Explorer.
Very good, thanks a lot. Then we have Alex from opensmjle. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the head of digital for opensmjle. I used to work with 25 hours at the same business before. Happy to have you here. My hashtag is Nerd and Team. And Lisa, your hashtag.
Perfect.
Could everyone from the panelists not speaking for the time being, because we have a doubling, just mute themselves? I think that would be easiest. Now you're muted, Lisa.
Did you use a hashtag, Alex?
Yes, mine is Nerd and Team, but what is yours?
Oh, my hashtag is, I don't know, Greek Portuguese. Okay, let's go on with Patrick from Revinate.
Hey guys, Patrick. Been with Revinate nearly 5 years, based in Amsterdam. Hashtag in Amsterdam. That's actually where I moved from. So Alex in my original hometown. And yeah, been with HIC multiple times. Looking forward to this virtual session. Let's get things started.
Could you give us like 2 or 3 sentences? What's Revinate? I know.
I'm always afraid because Daniel usually jumps in and says this is not a selling platform. Okay, I will. Revinate's been in the market for more than 10 years. We started with guest feedback for 5 years, and then we added hospitality CRM, and we merged that this year. So now we have one guest data platform with guest feedback, so reputation management, surveys, profile synthesis, guest marketing, all on one.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Daniel, switch the slides so I know who's next. Perfect. Marcel, introduce yourself.
Hi all, Marcel here. I'm actually responsible for business development at NextGuest. For those who don't know, NextGuest, as it's quite a new name out there, we're the former Serenata if it comes to the CRM part. And so what is NextGuest doing? So we have a fully integrated marketing, new guest acquisition and retention platform. So the guest data management platform, we do that for 20 years now, where we integrate all the different data hubs and get a 360 view on your guest to then have a highly personalized communications, multi-channel obviously towards your customers. So CRM and all the digital channels directly connected to that. That's what we're doing.
And your hashtag?
My hashtag, probably, that's a good one actually. I think I would say Furbo.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Our lovely lady in the group, Franziska, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Franziska from TrustYou. I've been with TrustYou for 5 years today, so it feels like a really long time. And for those of you who don't know TrustYou, we're experts in guest feedback. We're absolutely passionate about helping hotels collecting more feedback, analyzing it, and marketing it to the world. And right now we're especially focusing on on-site communication, pre-stay communication. My hashtag is I love working from home.
Oh, good one. Cool. So you don't have kids, right?
No. God, no.
Okay, good. Daniel, next slide. Police? Okay, awesome. Then we have our 2 hoteliers. Kornell, welcome.
Hi, everyone. First, I want to say hello to Amir. He's our new operations manager of the Residence Inn. He just got promoted. Congrats, Amir. I work for SV Group since 3 years in the hotel division, and we started like 3 years ago with a white piece of paper to create a new hotel concept, Stay Cook. I have the privilege to run that, and next to that, I was running the design and construction department. I was running the maintenance, the repair department, and IT innovation. So we're about to open up, if Corona lets us, to open up Stay Cook in Bern very soon, or maybe late summer. So that's me, and my hashtag is I live at Lake Zug. Here's a lake, and there's the mountains. Stay mentally fit, especially during really tough times, that you can support your team. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you very much. Then last but not least, Philip, welcome.
Thank you very much. I love that picture of mine. That was actually taken in my old hotel. So you see now I have a new dress code. I'm Philip. I'm the general manager of the student hotel in Berlin. We opened last October, 475 rooms directly at the Alexanderplatz. After 18 years with Accor, I'm with student hotels since, I would say, a very interesting half year. So I moved from opening GM directly to crisis GM, which is quite a ride. And it's very interesting. And I'm looking forward to the day where I can see the hotel fully operating, fully 100% occupied with no construction going on and no Corona. And my hashtag is Swabian efficiency and African emotion.
Oh, that's a good one. Thanks a lot. So I don't know if I actually mentioned the topic of today, redefining the services of a hotel, which means that we need to discuss if just, having overnight guests, checking them in, checking them out, giving them breakfast, if that's it, or if we should change perspective, because things will change for sure. So probably, I would love to start with the hoteliers. What do you think of reusing the rooms and not only having them for overnight stays, as I said? I know that, for example, Philip, you're already doing it. It's a totally different concept. Maybe you can explain a bit, and how do you think that other hotels will have to change, or can they just do what they are doing now? What's your perspective on the topic redefining the services of a hotel, actually?
Well, as you said, the good thing in the concept of the student hotel is that we are always, from the DNA, already have like 3 or different layers or tribes, as we call them, as being part of the hotel. So from our 475 rooms, 285 are already dedicated to students. That's where the name comes from. So they do live with a long-term contract from 1 semester or 2 semesters max already in the house, which means that during the crisis, I still have 80 people in-house that I'm responsible for. So I cannot just lock down everything and not serve something. There has to be some sort of limit, or let's say level in service that we provide. And that's actually one of the tasks that we're facing. So that means that is one layer or one tribe that we already cater to. We have the normal hotel guests, which have normal hotel rooms in that times to speak about normal is fun. And at the third layer, we do have people who are not students, but still want to stay longer than the average hotel guest. We do have some rooms with studios or kitchenettes for that. We call them long-term or long-stay guests. So these are the 3 layers we already have by brand DNA. And obviously adding the version of co-living, if you're not a student and you want to stay longer, or if you want to use your room as an office space, these are the things that are coming up now. And that's what we're trying to use the maximum out of it. And probably, because you're asking what is possible, probably we have to think about limiting the time that you stay in a room. So the usage of the room might change over a day. You could use the room in one part of the day in a totally different perspective, like you initially use it as a hotel room.
So are you already planning strategically on those things?
Yeah, we do. Probably to understand the concept a bit more, we have 285 rooms dedicated to our students, and they're arranged in clusters. So I have 24 clusters, and each cluster has a kitchen, and this kitchen is used by up to between 8 and 12 people already. So they do live like on a so-called co-living atmosphere. We use that space for like the students very much, and I can easily adapt it to people who are not students, which is possible at a certain point when the crisis go on. I can adapt it to office space. We do have our own co-working concept within Student Hotel, which is co-lab, which I don't have in the hotel as being part of the whole concept yet, because the fourth part of the building will be WeWork somewhere this year. But so I do have it in the brand DNA, and what we're organizing now is trying to use the office space for our partners as well, social partners as well, people who are helping us. Like we have a video guy who's like cutting all of our stuff. When I can lower my costs by giving him a room that he can use as an office, we create a win-win situation in a very easy way. But there's as well some other ideas that we can obviously use.
And then to jump over to Kornell, because your products, let's say, or the hotels that you work with are also special and not the typical, I come, I sleep, I eat breakfast and I go. So are you having similar thoughts as Philip? Are you trying to approach new services, think about how to add services or take off services?
Yeah, when we started like 3 years, and then we scratched services because we wanted to have like a different experience, and then our proposition, stay cook, stay you, that you shouldn't make too many compromises when you go to a hotel. So it starts with our studios, and they're only 22 square meters, but you have a fully equipped kitchen, you have a washing machine in some rooms, but we could have a washing machine in all the studios. We have the movable walls and the movable bed. And our idea was, even on 22 square meters, there where you are in your room, you want space. So when you're in the kitchen, you want a big kitchen. When you're in the living room area, you want a big living room area. When you want to have the full bed, 160, you want to see a full bed that you can jump in from both sides. To develop that is quite a pain. And probably when we launched it, like 1.5 years ago, and I was in the room with all the media, I went afterwards to my engineer and we started from scratch again because it wasn't that good. So I think with the room concept that we have more functionality in the room. The other layer is, when I use the word layer, is the digital customer experience. I mean, we all travel a lot. We go to the airport and the first time we have contact with someone is at the gate. Why is it so tricky in a hotel that we need this check-in process, and then we have the kiosk in the entrance? We don't even want the kiosk. The check-in has to be so easy over the phone that everyone does it when they're waiting on the bus stop. And to open up the door, it's like, it works perfect with the QR code at the airport. So we found some really great partners, and especially now during Corona, is that it's very easy to do the check-in, the registration, to go up to your room, to open up the room. If you don't want to see anyone, you don't see anyone. And the other one is what's really important for us is our staff. That's why it's Stay Cook. It's the 4 faces. It's not only the people or our guests, it's our staff too. And the 2 Ks, they are vice versa. So it's a stage. And this is like what we have to do. And we just created with my company, like a lab, where the way we work in a hotel has to be completely different. Why? I will run all Stay Cooks when we open up. So why do I want to come up with aims of the hotel? Like, you know, if they fully autonomy and they can choose what they want and come up with their own aims and the goals over the year, and that they can decide themselves. So we try new way of working. And what we do too is we don't want to have stupid processes where our hosts are in charge for. So we don't have offices where they can sit and hide. They're always in the middle of the in the public area, or like in the apartment space, how we call it, or backyard. And we want them, if they want to play Monopoly with the guests, then they should have the time to do so. Or if they want to show the city, like our first host, Masha, aka Mama Masha, comes from Bern. She grew up in Bern. She knows everything about Bern. So let her show our guests around Bern. It's like, and she's supposed to have the time to do so. And what we mean with the customer experience is if I want to chat with the hotel via WeChat or WhatsApp, then I decide as a guest how I want to do it, and not the hotel gives me the only option is it's via mail. So we need to change that, you know, that we don't have too many compromises for our guests. So that's maybe what we have in mind.
Do you think that you'll be in an advantage position that because you're already thinking this way, and you have already visualized the rooms that they're movable? If you want a kitchen, you have a kitchen. If you want a machine, you have a machine and stuff. So do you think you have an advantage to all the, let's say, classic hotels?
Yeah, finally we'll see when we open up and when we ask our guests, because then, like Franziska said, the guest feedback is super important, like, you know, and we want to learn as much as possible. But we do think, and we listen to our guests and we ask our guests what they like, what they want. So we do believe that that is an advantage, especially now in Corona times, yes.
Mm-hmm. Philip?
Liza, perhaps I really like one thing. I always think about why is it so hard to make hotels or guests do the check-in prior to arrival, because we tested it, I think 2012 for the first time with back with Novotel already, and it was a good system. The system worked, we did the operation work, but the guests were not well, let's say the German guests have a bit technical side that is not always very modern, but they did not appreciate it that much. So we digged in, why is it working in the flight industry and it's not in the hotel industry? And the answer is quite simple. So when we travel, we don't want to sit in the middle seat between a sweaty guy on the left side and a very hungry guy on the right hand side and just be scooped in there for a couple of hours. So usually you do it because you want to choose where and what to live. And until today, I think it's very, very limited big hotels who really had the guts to open up their space, the space that they're renting. And I know there is a PMS expert here as well. So renting and giving out space in the hotel is the key to have guests doing online check-in prior to their arrival. For example, they say, I want to be, well, the classic is far away from the elevator or near to the elevator. I want to see the sea. If you give them the option to do that, I promise you, they will do it and they will pay more money. But we need to have the guts to do that. And it will change our hoteliers' perspective of we're in charge for the space. No, you give away some of your freedom, but they will pay for that freedom. That's what the airline did. And that's what today is missing to really get the people covered towards that.
Philip and Kornell, if I could just ask a question, because we, of course, as a PMS provider, have been speaking to a lot of our existing clients and also with prospects. So what we have noticed is basically, and this would be interesting to hear from you, You know, basically, usually, if you look into the past, one of the priorities for selecting a hotel was primarily always the location, location, location. We are seeing a kind of shift in this, moving to the hygiene aspects. And also what we've been hearing from other hotels is that they are basically, you know, redoing their whole rate structure. So it's also, okay, are we still going to be offering non-refundable rates, or will they be with more flexible conditions? Because, you know, considering the situation and their insecurity, a lot of travelers will have, which would also include, you know, looking for new market segments or emphasizing, enhancing other market segments, because they are basically seeing that there will be a drop in business travelers. I mean, if we look at Germany, if we wouldn't have had this pandemic, I think the whole digitalization, automation would have still taken 3 to 5 years, and now we kind of got pushed into it. So I also assume that a lot of companies will realize the need that they had in the past is not to the same extent after the whole Corona situation. So this would be interesting to know also in terms of guest engagement, the social distancing, how you guys are coping with it, also the housekeeping aspects, because at the end of the day, what we feel is, you know, properties are actually going to need intelligent algorithms to do the whole housekeeping task management, including billing autopilots, to just kind of minimize certain interactions, or at least give the guest the possibility that he can decide when and if he wants to interact with the staff member. So it would be great to hear what you guys are all up to.
Go ahead, answer.
There were many.
Yeah,
questions.
sorry.
Yeah.
I kind of went too slow.
Hygiene is like everyone is spot on. But in my opinion, everyone comes up with a new hygiene label. So we get everything, but because we are franchisee with Marriott, so we get a big program from Marriott. And of course, we have to give the trust to the people. Like when you see, my brother runs as a GM a hotel in Shanghai. Of course, they have the videos. They go all the day around and they spray everything. And it's like to give that feeling, okay, we are clean. But I mean, like, if you talk to experts from hospitals, they won't change the system right now. So they were clean before, they are clean now. So we have to find a good way that we give that feeling to the people that our house is clean. And so Marriott puts up a big program. That's a lot of more effort we have to put in. So we will follow that. Then the other thing is like with the rates. I believe, like, you know, I don't want to risk anything. I don't want to book anything in 2 months and have this shitty thing that I need to remember or remind myself, okay, I need to cancel that. You know, we talk about, like, we have a revenue management strategy for Stay Cook and for the other brands too. But now we rethink, okay, how much do we have to change that to get that there's no pain to book? You know, if you cancel like last minute, then maybe so be it. So we are not all the same opinion in-house, but I do believe it's very important, especially right now. On the other side, I think people will forget very easy. We saw it after finance crisis, like, you know, if the markets go up. And my roommate, he's a hedge fund manager. He always sits here as like, Kornell, don't worry about it. Well, what is your issue? It's like, you know, the markets will go up. I do believe the hotel sector is a little bit more tricky. But let's see in 6 to 12 months how we do it. Did I answer?
No, that's fine. Would you also consider, like some of the hotels we've been speaking to, or even considering once a room has been occupied, that they will actually leave it vacant for minimum 24 hours, just to minimize the kind of possibilities or dangers, let's say it like that?
We will probably open up Bern by beginning of October. And we have only 62 rooms there, so it's not that many. So if the market goes up, it's like, then we will see our other hotels. If that is a need, we're not quite sure yet. But yeah, we think about that. Yeah, and you're right. Like, you know, if we have a communication tool with our guests, then the guests decide when they want to have housekeeping, or if they just do the bathroom or like the full room, or come on Wednesday at 6 or so. Give the choice to the people. Those are the things we might have to rethink and have to implement in our customer journey or our customer experience.
Okay, great, thank you.
I think just to add up, Olivier, I mean, you said some very good things. The social distancing part is going to be very interesting. For me personal, and I think as a brand DNA for a student hotel in general, it's all about community and together. And we will see a bit of a structure of not being together anymore. So that will be a huge thing for me personal. And I think for our industry, where we strived over years and years to get rid of barriers and borders and desks to be close together, now we're going the opposite way. So the fight back for that freedom will be very, very interesting. The question that you had is concerning hygienic. Globally, it's a different thing than Germany or Europe. We're a bit further ahead than other places. And the last thing you asked about rates, I want and I hope that we all have the guts to stay at a level where we make money. And we're talking not only hotel as well, restaurants. We were not making a lot of money in restaurants. So that down, there is not much way. I saw some very good initiatives of a friend of mine, Holger Hutmacher at Moon Hotels, who just introduced a €2.50 service charge per person for the Corona measures. And he just communicated it very nicely. He said, that's what we're doing. And we will ask for €2.50 in order to provide that service and trust level.
I like that idea because I got a haircut finally, like 2 weeks ago, and I paid an extra $2. And I like the idea because you can take that back. So when Corona's over and the people are at the normal level, so maybe you put some extra effort into cleaning and hygiene in the house, and then that's easier to take it back. Because when we start now and come up with extra label and fulfill everything, then we really have to rethink our cost for housekeeping, because then we are not able anymore to do that for the price we did it over the past years.
I would love to head over to Franziska, because we also are saying that service in general is not only staying overnight, it also concerns recommendations. What do you think? How will this service from part of the hotel, but also how will people react to recommendations from now on in general?
And before you start, next stop after Franzi, we have 3 questions from the audience. So
questions will be later on. I'm sorry, Daniel.
You did the first round already, didn't you?
Sorry. Mute yourself. We go on with Franziska.
Great. Well, I would say that even before the crisis started, we at TrustYou always said that collecting feedback is really important. And collecting feedback nowadays is not only about asking to guests once they left the hotel, but while they are still on site. And while the hotels are closed right now, it's the case that I definitely know what guests. You're distracting me.
People.
Oh, good. Well, basically, we knew what guests wrote about the hotel before we closed. And now, once the hotels reopen, we don't know yet what guests will expect. So it's really important right now to listen to them, because in case guests are not satisfied with hygiene measures at this point, they will very likely leave negative reviews online. And this is why we really point out that all hoteliers should listen to feedback, to guest feedback while guests are still on site. And this is why on-site communication is so important. And Kornell pointed it out that it's not about the hotel telling the guest how to reach out to them, but it's really about the hotel providing the guest with a multi-channel opportunity, whether it is reaching out to via WhatsApp, Wi-Fi feedback, SMS, whatever, to make sure that you can work on the service recovery while guests are still on site, make sure that they have a great experience, and then they leave a positive review afterwards. And of course, reviews will be more important than ever, because everyone feels insecure. Everyone wants to make sure that they make the right choice, especially at this point. So that's why in the end, guest communication and guest feedback all plays together, and is really crucial.
For sure. Do you have concrete examples?
Sorry?
You have concrete examples? Because you mentioned, for example, people should be having the possibility to give feedback on site. Could you mention different examples how hoteliers could do it?
Absolutely. So, for example, with our solution, hoteliers can on one hand side ask for feedback right after the check-in via the Wi-Fi login page by collecting a very quick pulse survey, and the feedback would then up in an inbox in our system, and the hotelier can get real-time notifications in case, for example, there is a negative feedback, and communicate real-time with the guest. At the same time, it's the case that we do provide messaging systems to hoteliers, which can then be offered also to guests. They can be embedded in an app. They can be there can be placed stand-ups with a QR code on the hotel room. So whenever the guest feels the need to reach out to the hotel, they know how to do it. It should not be so hotels shouldn't be too pushy about deciding which communication channel to choose, but it's always the guest who should be given the possibility to choose which communication channel to use. So these are typical examples. Whether it is, for example, like just thinking about myself, I enter the room, I do the check-in, and or I do the check-in, and I do have the feeling that there is not enough distance between the front office manager and me, or the front office manager didn't wear a mask. So I would like to get the possibility to provide real-time feedback. And of course, the hotel then has the possibility to take my actions immediately. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can. All good.
Okay. My screen is black,
Oh.
so I cannot see it.
But I think you answered that perfectly. So thank you very much. And generally, heading over to communication will be a big part, as you mentioned already. Not only food, but communication is a key service of a hotel, especially in those times. And I would love to move on to Patrick. What do you think? How should first of all communication change in a hotel? And if yes, how should it change? And what would you recommend hotels to do right away?
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, maybe to kick it off, I think the one thing we've all learned, probably personally as well in business, in times of crisis, the number one thing you need to do is communicate. So that is, of course, that big part of the actual service. So, when Kornell mentioned all the different levels they have when it comes to service at the hotel and the specific things they do, we're picking out the communication. And when I look at communication, the times of sending out a newsletter blast, or the times of sending out the same message to all 20,000 contacts you have in the database, if I look at individual hotels, and that problem gets even bigger when we get groups, that's where we focus on. And I think no wonder that you have three folks on here that deal with communication, and Franziska and Marcel as well, because there's a change in hospitality. And I think this is actually, more and more momentum right now, where you want to have clean data. You don't want to deal with, all that mess in your PMS anymore. You want to have a specific program for actually being able to work with that clean data. So it's clean data, it's correct information, it's collecting, feedback from your guest at all the touch points of the guest journey. I mean, starts with pre-stay, starts with once you checked in, starts with the during stay survey, post-stay survey. Like, all of this needs to be personalized. And so when we talk to, current partners, current hotels, what's your objective? Like, what do you want to achieve? And the number one thing, I've written down here from communication earlier today when I spoke to a partner, it's individualizing the guest communication. Like broad, generic, emails, newsletter blasts. Hey, we're open again. Hey, we comply with all the COVID-19, sanitary regulations, all this. That's useless. It's going to be so noisy out there. But how do you communicate specifically with certain groups of guests? And that's where we focus on. Mm-hmm. And using all the feedback from coming, from all the different touch points. Have a during stay survey and somebody feeds back to you that he's not happy with the cleanliness, immediately, automatically, a communication will go out to him. If you keep track of that, next time he stays with you 3 days before arrival, you will receive a specification to him. Hey, we've upgraded our cleanliness program, whatever it is. Like, all of this needs to be more and more specific. We have that saying, I don't know, Lisa, if you're pulling up that one slide, or yeah. Daniel, send you guys.
Now that you said it, perfect. Daniel, if you could, please.
Where we say, broad generic campaigns will only meet deaf ears. Like, everybody's sending out the same message everybody's sending out the same stuff about, oh yeah, we're the cleanest hotel in the city. So what we suggest, be thoughtful and use segmentation. So if it's first-time guests, send out if it's repeat guests, send out a different message. If it's local guests, if it's your whatever VIPs, if it's people that tend to book directly, like, all this is possible with modern guest communication platforms. And behind any of these segments, you can put a specific communication, and that's what you need to do. So, rolling back to where I started, in times of crisis, a specific communication, that's what you need, not the broad. And this will change. I don't think hoteliers will go back and say, okay, once this is done and we've surpassed and we've left COVID Island, we're going to go back to blasting our whole database with random newsletters.
Yeah,
it's not what I'm suggesting.
I think that's what we've always been praying, that people or hoteliers understand. Please send out personalized communication. And I think now it's even more important than ever. So thanks for touching up on that. I know that Marcel also brought a slide, and maybe you want to let us know what's your opinion on that. So communicate.
Absolutely. Thank you, Liza. So first of all, I agree also with Patrick, right? I mean, that's our ballgame, what we do for like 20 years. Talking about how important it is to have a highly personalized approach and towards your customers. So you can only do that if you have right data and if you have everything in the tech stack connected, right? So even if there's like an intent on the website, the behavior, you want to use that, and these kind of topics from reviews till obviously booking behavior. And I think that's a question I will just come back to maybe a little bit later, but I would like to hear from the hoteliers as well, what they are actually planning to do if it comes to offerings, right? Because if you start communicating now with your customers, who are you going to communicate to? Because the biggest challenge which I see currently is that you probably can't have a full hotel directly from the beginning. So you will have high cost, and you will try, well, you need to try to get as much from each customer who comes in, and you need probably a different kind of thinking, and you have to be creative to come up with new ideas. Maybe have a local, you think about your local network, and you start renting bicycles if you don't have them yourself, and make a partnership somewhere, and all these kind of topics of new things you can sell to people who come to your property. And to be able to understand what you should offer, you should understand what your customer wants, right? So all the preferences and interests, whatever you can get it from which channel, you want to make use of that fully, and then decide who are you going to target to. So the big spenders, first of all, who should come back to your property, etc. And I just want to show here a small example of where we came up with during the crisis based on feedback from our customers. So we do a lot of things like BI and a lot of other solutions which we have, but one of the newest things we just brought out is, and we call it an inventory system, which is called Flexi, because it's so flexible, obviously, right? So what you can do, you can sell anything you can imagine outside of the hotel room itself, right? So not the room, but that might be like tickets for a concert, that might be a bicycle, like I said, it might be anything else you can imagine. You can trigger that with promotions from any kind of transaction communication, marketing communications, but you want to have their highly personalized offerings in there, which are matching also the profile of your customers. That's the first thing. And what we came up here is, if it comes to the Flexi part, now we use this same logic for a contactless menu, actually, because we want to help the hoteliers to reduce the contact moments. And if I would go into a restaurant, probably I would think, if I get this old menus, the paper menus, and think, okay, wow, how old is that, and how are they going to clean this, right? So this was the feedback we got, and we used our Flexi system now to have like a contactless menu for that. That means you can very easily have now a fully digital logic to offer the menu to your customers. And how we do that is, if we go to the next slide, you can have that done just very simple by having a QR code. I think it's still hanging.
One.
Sorry?
I only have one slide. So
oh, you only have one. Oh, sorry. Okay, share a little bit more. Okay, no worries. So what we can do, as an example now, to see how technology can support in times now where we want to ramp up again and still keep the whole corona crisis and the distancing, etc. in mind, is that we can have like a keyword such as a menu you send to an SMS, you directly get access to the menu, or you use the QR code which you see here on the table. And the beautiful thing of that is that you can then go a step further than you could ever do before, because normally if you would come to the table in your restaurant and you would ask, okay, what do you want to eat? And someone say, okay, 4 people are on the table and they say we all want to have steak, and steak is out, right? So that would be stupid. But what you could do with the system is that it will automatically also have business rules in there. So if you know that, you know, your steak is gone, you won't offer it. No one knows that there was steak on the menu, as an example. But if it you know, it turns out that you have, like, I don't know, one certain dish like multiple times, and otherwise at some point you have to throw it away because you're not selling it, you could go automatically with discounts on this specific menu, right? So all kind of logics which help not only to reduce the contact moments, but also, you know, to generate more logic and, you know, bring more logic in and generate more business.
Yeah.
So this is just one of the things we came up with during this crisis time to support the customers or hotels. And you can use the same logic also for room service, right? Or outdoor dining, or order pre-arrival snacks via also communication in the pre-arrival phase. So a lot of things you can do there. Use technology to get more out of it. And the thing we also look at now currently, because we got the feedback from other customers, say, for instance, in the Netherlands, now, first of all, you can have 30 people in your restaurants, right? So probably a month later, it might be 100. So at some point, you have to count that. So our solution could also, at some point, maybe support these kind of things. So how can technology help hoteliers to get, you know, things sorted out well, but also make more money at some point, right?
That's a good question for Ollie, I would say. So because you are like the PMS, still the heart of a hotel, as people call it, you have all the data as well. Are you taking measures to actually change what you're offering? Because you know that hoteliers will want different things in the future?
Correct. Yes. So, I mean, firstly, what we did on the 15th of March, when the main lockdown came in the whole of Europe, we actually did implement a generic measurement just to see how all these transactions are basically, so any user that logs into the system and does specific transactions is recorded, of course, with respect to the data security of all our clients. And 2 weeks later, after the 15th, was actually a 70% drop down. So that's a significant impact that hotels are experiencing, even hotels who weren't even logging on to the PMS. And after we've been consulting with a lot of our clients and existing clients, we are actually using the time to significantly develop features, especially in terms of guest engagement, or more optimized housekeeping management, basically a more intelligent algorithm, so that, like we were discussing before, guests have a better flexibility to, you know, select their housekeeping. Also for, excuse me, our own integrated POS system, we are working on seeing further developments, not necessarily in the direction of Marcel, but yes, we are seeing to what extent we can develop features to simplify or even fulfill such new hygiene measurements, which will come in social distancing, so on. So there's quite a bit in the pipeline, which I'm unfortunately not allowed to make public just yet, but this is all expected in the next 6 months. Yes, so it's something unavoidable also from our side.
I think if you take it seriously and you actually think that things will change. So I think this is what we can take out of it for sure.
Yes, well, I mean, like for all of us, it's just without guarantee. We're just hoping, even with all the, God, my English is failing me, die Lockerungen, can you guys help me out in German or in English? So with the loosening of the restrictions, depending how that goes, if a second wave comes, so I think it's for all of us a bit hard to estimate when a realistic kind of back to normal will take place. But also here we are supporting our clients. What we have done from our side is giving a significant discount during these tough times as solidarity as well.
I've seen that we've answered quite some questions, see Daniel, from the Q&A. People, if you still have questions, please put them up there. I would like to refer to Alex right now, and after that, we will check out all your questions that you have, and people will answer them. Alex, I would plain blank just ask you 3 things, like the typical hotel. 80 rooms, I don't know, in the middle of Munich. What do they need to do now to be able to, to be able to go against Philip and Kornell?
Well, to go against those both guys, pretty difficult. I think I think the most important thing is that there's a big uncertainty of what's happening in the future, and people are a bit insecure about investing money into technology. I think there have to be a lot more creative ways of thinking out of the box to either talk to people, and then more important, and also Marcel did mention this, really to get in touch with the customers, to feel their needs, and to really drive traffic to your own channels, because those are the channels you are able to communicate and you are able to control, and really re-own your brand. So take care of your website, take care of the performance marketing you are able to control. Do not put everything into the hands of the OTAs, because I think on the OTA side, a lot of traffic and noise coming up. So on one hand side, you have to stand out for what is your hotel and your brand is standing for. So I think you have to be creative, but you do have to do the basics. So the performance marketing, you have to keep up with your website. You have to get your booking engine right, strengthen your visibility out there, because we had a talk today. There are people actually looking for hotels because all the other hotels in town are closed. So you have to make people aware that you're open, and then that you will take reservations.
Absolutely. What do you think of, because I've differently heard, for example, people are using rooms, for example, to record podcasts, to have streamings there, because they don't have their usual yoga space they can go to, but they want to stream online. So they rent a hotel room to have their yoga session there online. People are filming in hotel rooms. Isn't it something that hoteliers should keep up with? Because I think that tomorrow people, if they can go outside, they will not stop streaming. So why not go back to more day use again?
That's right, definitely. I think, Philip, you brought it up on your introduction. All those new initiatives like hotel office, like a lot of restaurants and hotels, came up with takeaway offers, and we're creative, offering the customers what they like. So it's definitely time to involve those initiatives to keep up with the track, and let people know that you're there, and talk to the people and see what are their future needs, because there are definitely future needs. Travel will always be a need, but there will be a change of the type of travel. So you have to keep up those initiatives and be creative, really be creative, and think out of the box, and also talk to the members of your staff, of your team. What are their needs in terms of what have they heard from customers or their peer group, to really drive incremental revenue or additional revenue to your hotel or restaurant or whatever you offer.
Alex, may I say that I think that's the most important message. Yeah? I don't know, for some reason I was last weekend in Leipzig in the West Inn, and they had like 7-8 people there. Do you think anyone asked me? It was a special situation for me too. Did I feel comfy with Corona, like COVID-19 times, traveling and in hotels? No one was having a good chat. I think if you talk to your people now, and if you empower them and they pick up the feedback and you work with that feedback and you give special moments to the few guests you have in the hotel, they will get back to you. Then it's not a tricky situation for an 80 rooms hotel in Munich to fight against someone like I don't know, like a Moxie. If your staff is just spot on, and they have the power and they have the space to fulfill their own way of working, you make memories for the people, you know. And of course, like in the back end, you should collect all the data. You should send it to your headquarters, and they should work with that. But like, I do think that's absolutely key. Your people on property will be more important than ever.
Yeah. And Kornell, I'm so happy. Well, if you tape that, you can send that out to the world. There's 3 additions. 1, I don't want any hotel to fight against us. Let's fight with us. I mean, we're all having the same customers at the end, and they choose at the end. There was a point earlier. I still think that they will somehow choose a location at the end. So second thing is, and Kornell, that's amazing. I have the biggest difficulty explaining my team that social distance starts with us, because they're still socializing with the people. They're still close, because that's what this industry is about. These professionals, these people, that's what they're good at, and we will have them still tomorrow. And another thing, use your teams wisely. Again, that's what Kornell said. I just want to emphasize. I have a community manager. He was number 7 a couple of years on Idol of South Africa, so African South Idol. What is it? Super Talent. So he's an amazing singer, and this guy is amazing. He's a great dude. So check him out. His name is Dominic Neal. So if you listen to his songs, it's quite worth it. Little commercial here. We have a huge garden. So check what your hotel offers. We have 285 or 250 rooms facing the courtyard. I will do a concert in the courtyard, and I will sell out the rooms to people who want to keep the social distance. And then they can listen to that guy playing live, and they can stay in their room, and I'll give them drinks, and they can pre-order food, whatever they want. And I can stay with all that lines. I can do that. So it's just a way of being and having the guts of trying it out. I was approaching what's it called? A company that rents out movies, because I say people can go to the movie. I can give them a room for maximum 2, and I stream 1 movie over the TV. I'll get it as a world premiere, some Indian movie, I don't care. And they can watch the movie or do whatever they want. And, I just try to make cultural on a different approach. So probably it's worth of checking what you have and making a new use of it. Yeah, because there's still possibilities.
Absolutely. We have one question actually concerning that. Wouldn't the employees be scared too, just like the customers and guests? Your view on this, please.
Yeah, well, I'll start with that. I saw the question. I can promise you the people that work here, they have not lost their passion for that job. People working in hotel industry, they're usually not driven by the biggest money in the world or by the biggest fame or by whatever they ask. These are all like crazy people like we are, who just love to be around people. So that is probably the biggest difficulty. No, I don't think that those who are the right at the job will have an issue. But I agree, you will not lick another guest's face in the future or hand. Probably you not shake him in, but they will not be scared of doing their job and doing what they love to do. I'm 100% sure about that. It might be that a lot of these old-fashioned GMs have to say bye-bye to their vision of a 19-year-old abitur or student who has done everything, who works for 1,900 euro at a reception and does 6 shifts a week in 2 different time zones. But it might be that we have somebody who has not learned the business the right way, and we'd have to train them because he doesn't speak German or doesn't speak Schweizerdeutsch or whatever. That might be an option, and I'm ready to tackle that. And then we have to change a bit what we hire and how we treat them.
Perfect, yeah. Daniel, I'm sorry you were so quiet. I muted you in the beginning. Would you like to add something to that? I mean, from your spot, I think you agreed with a lot of things that everyone said, but is there something you would like to add and like to give into perspective for hoteliers?
Me?
Yes, you. There's no other Daniel.
I was like, what? I first of all would like to pick up the questions, but generally speaking, obviously we speak to a lot of customers we have into our network and all that, and had a long conversation with a hotel group today from Germany with 14 hotels. And I think you really need to engage with your people, with your staff, and you really need to take decisions with them as well, one by one. And it was Sebastian from Hamburg, and he gave a really good example. So he said, you know what, I can push all my people now that we are closed or partially closed into Kurzarbeit and short labor and say, okay, you're not working, you're staying at home, whatever. But what they did is actually they asked one by one, would you like to take over, for example, part of the housekeeping? Because normally that's external. If you want to, we accept you will take longer. We will have to spend more money actually, but we bring you back into business, back into work, back into labor. instead of hiring an external company doing that, right? And he said the feedback was amazing from his team, and people are coming back and taking over other stuff which they normally wouldn't be doing, right? So I think there's different stuff that you can do right now, and Philip and Kornell know that a lot better than I do because they're in day-to-day business. But I think you really have to independently speak with the people one-on-one and help them take proper and smart decisions and empower them as well. Not telling them, this is what we are doing and you have to accept it, but really speak with them one-to-one and then take it from there.
And Daniel, by the way, that's one part that the German authorities request us. We have to offer our teams an individual answer to their fears and an individual consultancy, so to say, when they have an issue. Yeah. Right. And I mean, I have 24 nations in this team here, 24 nations. And I only have, from these 40 people, 3 Germans. So the same thing that I have to explain all guests here were non-German, I do like 2-3 times a week with my team in a Zoom call, which is always fun. But they, you know, Germany is crazy when it comes to these papers. Look at my desk. There's papers everywhere with Eindämmungsverordnungen. These words are so long, you cannot scribble them because you don't have enough letters for that. So, you know, that changes as well our way of working. And as long as I'm transparent and I'm helping them understand what's going on, I'm 100% sure that we'll go through that together.
Yeah. And at the same time, the feedback that I get from hoteliers as well is that there's so many people in this market right now that want to work and that want to be in this business and that got laid off or whatever. So I think the motivation has never been bigger than now to actually work and come back. And the ones who don't want to do it, that's totally fine because they should be taking care of themselves and protect themselves to whatever measure they can. And I think that's totally fair. And we just have to be open and speak openly about issues. And there are issues. Yeah. And
it's a big chance for people working at the night at the moment in clubs, discos, bars to move out of that. And I'm 100% sure that there's a lot of good barkeepers available.
And there's so much talent out there. We need to make sure at the same time that they're actually staying in our industry. Because if we lose all these smart people to retail or whatever, it will be hard to regenerate that generation of smart people within our industry. Not only from a hotel perspective, but as well from a tech provider perspective. Okay, but finally, I want to come back to the questions that the audience has, because otherwise all this Q&A is useless and they will come back shooting at me on LinkedIn like, you are useless, we don't allow us to ask all these questions. Okay, so there's a question from Alan Young. I think he's the one tuning in from Toronto, if I remember correctly, and he says, more precisely, what are the hotels doing to ensure the health and safety of the guests? Sanitation, thermal temp checks, cleanliness protocols, check-in, check-out via mobile and all that. And I think we discussed that as well 2 weeks ago with, what was his name from Barcelona? René, I think. And so they have this heat camera and whatever. And so, Philip, you wanted to pick up that question and maybe then to Patrick, to Franziska, to Alex, to Oliver and Marcel as well. What's the feedback you guys get from the market? But first of all, Philip.
Just to be right, that is a question about what we're doing in terms of sanitizing and hygienic?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the stuff that we have to do by law is quite high, but I'll be very honest. A lot of things we have already taken. We already did all the time. Especially when you go to a kitchen, there is not a lot of changes. What changes is what we decided, and I think that covers a lot of other hotels as far as I heard. We increased a lot of hand sanitizers on each touch point, reception, everywhere we have people interacting, there's hand sanitizers available for everybody, toilets, kitchen, desks, wherever you have. For example, a little practical thing, we took away everything on a table of a restaurant, like the salt and pepper things, everything that is touched by different people, it has been taken away and will be delivered upon request. We have increased the frequency of the cleaning of doors, hand knobs, toilets, elevators, everything where people are usually touching, we have increased. We have added plexiglass at the reception. We have, Mund-Nasenschutz, what is it called? The masks everywhere. We have it available, even though we're not open yet in Berlin, but we will open and we have it available. If not, you can use a bandana, which I usually do, that looks like this. And I always look very cute in that. And then I just have it to be covering everything. And we're trying to play with a wink whenever we can. So asking people to wash your hands after the toilet should be actually not a new thing. And but besides that, there's a ton of papers that we have to that we do for both sides, guests and staff. That, for example, includes as well, when are your guests, your staff people going to a break? You cannot send 20 at the same time to somewhere to have a break, so you have to plan a bit ahead. We have no more buffets, and I can probably name millions and millions of other measurements that have been taken in our hotel so far. I hope this answers the question, but if there is more details, I'm happy to elaborate. Ours.
Absolutely. And obviously I have a lot of feedback, but I don't want to talk too much. Guys, who wants to jump in? Did you hear anything from the hotels you're talking to? Franzi?
Well, we do hear similar things that have been mentioned by Philip. Honestly speaking, most clients are at the moment really busy with organizing themselves to make sure that they are able to fulfill all these standards. So I can only confirm what Philip just mentioned. Generally, what we have to say is, please make sure that travelers know which measures you're taking, because you can do whatever you want, but if travelers are not aware of it, you're not able to interact with them and give them a really positive feeling. On a personal note, I tried to book a hotel a few days ago, and on their website, it belongs actually to a German chain. On the website, there was no information about Corona at all, not on the IBE. So basically, I tried to book on a website, and I would definitely recommend to make sure that whenever people try to book at least on a website, that you're transparent regarding all measures you're taking, especially if you're investing so much time and energy to fulfill all the requirements placed by the government. So this is what we hear from hotels at the moment. 200% focus on reopening, making sure that all hygiene standards are met.
Yeah, well, guys, someone?
Yeah, maybe Daniel, one thing that we saw, and I think it's also interesting, where we did our own survey, and you know, we were surveying you know, travelers and asking them about, you know, their next plans and where they're going to travel and all that. If you look at that, most people said, you know, the next trip, when they actually go to a hotel, it will be a hotel that they stayed at before, because there's already some sort of, you know, trustful relationship. Mm-hmm. And you know, getting back to the point, you know, using your own guest data thoughtful, if you think about this and the great opportunity you have, the first travelers you are going to have are probably going to be people that, as I said, stay with you. You can reach out to them, and you can absolutely inform them about what you have. If they have any questions, if they're uncertain. I mean, there's just great opportunity to do that, to strengthen that relation.
What I heard a lot in accordance to that is that people are actually calling or writing emails and asking, like, what's the measures, what's the status, what are you doing, can I be sure with my family, whatever. Not so much in business travel, but rather now in leisure, and getting prepared if you want to go to the Eastern Sea or Northern Sea, whatever, or to Bavaria. And I think now maybe is the time to really put in information on the website, as you mentioned, Franzi. Maybe I saw the video from Kempinski produced 2 days ago with the lady in red, showing like all the measures that Kempinski put in place in all the hotels. Maybe something like that could be interesting. Comments on the website, a live chat on the website where people can actually ask questions, so you can convert them in tranquility. It's not so much about, it's something I heard today as well from Hoteliers, it's not so much about the pricing currently. It's more about, first of all, are you open? Yes. And then secondly, what's the measures you're taking so I can go there with my family in a relaxed manner. Philip, you want to say something?
Absolutely. And in addition to that, right now is the right time to upgrade the website, make sure that you have all information up to date, and really, as has been mentioned before, drive traffic to your own website and reduce the dependency of all the big OTAs to increase the direct bookings and in the end also lower the costs. So that's what we would definitely recommend, by collecting feedback and in the end enrich the website with content, especially right now.
If I may just add there, I think, you know, what Patrick said, and also Franziska, I completely agree with that. I think we've been working on the 60 slides. It's even called, I think it's the Recovery Strategy ebook on our website. You can download it. obviously for free. And we have the COVID-19 resource center there where you find a lot of more information, especially who you should target, what kind of communication, when you should update your website in each phase and these kind of topics. So we're happy to share a link for someone if you're interested. And have a look at that.
If you want to. But I think that we are already a bit over time, and I think that we basically need to wrap up. To go back to, I think, yeah, to redefining the services of a hotel. I think we've heard a lot of ideas and a lot of opinions how you can do it. I think if I would still work in a hotel, I would take with me, use the people and the things that you already have in a hotel, and think twice if, I don't know, a kitchen is only a kitchen, or, you know, if the singing receptionist is only a receptionist, or if you could give a concert in your hotel or do a live stream or whatsoever. So I think these are great things and great opportunities that we can take with us, and that everyone who listened in and who will be listening to this can take with them, as well as obviously recommendations and communication. I think this is an awesome thing. I would love, Daniel, could you be so kind to put up the second poll with the feedback? So we would love to hear if the viewers enjoyed it, make it shorter, make it longer, not for me, or do it again. We will do it again, actually, on the 19th of May. It will be a Tuesday because the 21st is a bank holiday. And on the 19th of May, we will talk about how to push direct sales. So I think that we already gave a bit of an introduction to that topic as well today. Yeah, it will be, I think, very interesting, and we'll have great people joining us as panelists. But I would love to thank you all for opening up, for sharing your ideas, for sharing your opinion. I think this is what we can do right now, and obviously, yeah, listen a lot and take in and use the time to do something different than we've done before, maybe. From tomorrow on, there will be a recording on our website, so everyone can check it out there. From me, it's a big, big thank you to each and every one of you. And I would love to close this up with like one short sentence with a positive vibe, so I can enjoy the sun and go out, and I'll be fine today. So Franziska, could you give me like one nice final sentence, which is positive, please? We don't hear you.
Yeah. My screen is still black, so this is why I try to unmute myself. So I truly believe that this crisis comes along with a lot of possibilities to rethink communication, not only with guests, but also with employees. And what I very much liked, what was said before, let's really make sure to transparently communicate with employees to enable them to make sure that we all go together through this crisis and in the end are stronger than before.
Perfect. Patrick, what's your posy sentence?
My posy sentence, wow. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the reaction to this crisis. You know, if you look at what happened in 2008 and 11 after the financial crisis, Hoteliers shifted a lot of the inventory to the OTAs, Booking.com and Co. So if you look at that, and now 50% of bookings are running through OTAs, that option is taken. So that's not going to happen again. So, but something needs to happen. You know, as Franziska said, there's going to be change, and this change is not going to be shifting more to OTAs. This change, if I look at what's happening now, is hotels, communicating differently, using data, and pushing direct bookings. I think it's going to be a very interesting time and a good, very positive shift.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Oliver.
Sorry, I have to unmute. So actually, I would just want to emphasize what Franziska said, and since I'm half South African, I might as well go for a quote from Africa. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that includes your guests, your team members, your partners. We're all in this together, and only together can we achieve.
Love it. Thanks a lot. Marcel?
Well, there's only few to add, right? I mean, after such a beautiful sentence here of Oliver. So I think it's, challenging times. I think it's asking for, brave people, smart, bold, creative, thinking. And I think that's what the industry is currently showing. So I'm very positive for the future.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Yeah, picking up what Oliver said, I think the one positive thing out of this crisis is that we see a lot of solidarity between the hoteliers and the people working in the tourism industry. So yeah, keep up talking to each other and sharing your knowledge.
Perfect. Thank you. Kornell?
Yeah, maybe I mentioned it again. Involve your people in your post-corona strategy, empower them, and let them do the job. They know what to do.
Thanks a lot. Philip?
I would say embrace the opportunities, man. This is just a little ditch in whatever our life is. We can make so much of that. I mean, I have two left hands, and I constructed a table and a TV board. All the time that we have, not due to Kurzarbeit or not having work, but because we cannot go to restaurants, use it wisely. And as soon as we can be back at where we have been, probably in a different manner, you all come to Berlin and have a beer with me. It's on me, I promise.
It's a party.
Even the liter must cook, yeah? Coming from Bavaria.
If I can't, no, I don't have that kind of beer. But if I cannot have a beer, that is always available. No worries at all.
Okay, so we'll plan our trip to Berlin as that. Daniel, close it down, please.
Oh gosh, I think it's just important that we stay in conversation throughout the next months and weeks. And I'm just curious. I'm getting up every morning. I'm just curious what's going on because no one knows. Right? No one knows 100% how the next 3 or 4 weeks will look like. And we're all trying to put out ourselves and do our best and inform our teams and people and partners and whatever. So, but no one has a crystal ball. So it's just every day being curious, being open, trying things as Philip said before. Just try things, and maybe 70% won't work, but 30 will. And I think people are very, very open right now to try things, to listen to things, to see things, to new stuff. And I think that's what we all need to do. And maybe renovate our business model. I know that's difficult as a hotel, but ourselves as an agency, we can do whatever we want, basically. And so we're trying things, and maybe we'll sell containers in 6 months to hotels, or we'll work with retail, whatever. We'll be out there trying our best and trying to re-innovate. And I'm just trying and hoping that we will be part of this industry in the future as well, and coming together with these nice and beautiful people, because that's what we love to do. And that's what we all are missing, going out with Patrick and Franzi and all you guys, and going for a gin tonic in Patrick's case, or wine in Franzi's case, and really like spending time together. And I think that's what we all need and what we are all looking forward to.
Absolutely. So stay positive, stick together, discuss, be open, and thank you so much. Have a lovely evening, and thanks for your time. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Stay healthy.
Bye.